Okay, welcome to the pre-show once again.
Yes, indeedio. And look at them filing in, each of them maintaining their social distance.
It's
That's
important.
it is. They're keeping 6 feet apart. And notice that they're filling the top seats all right, but there's one space in between each of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want to congratulate you on your social responsibility. You don't let your wealth and your elegance get in the way of your responsibility to, we'll all get through this together. And I think you're showing that tonight. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everyone, and thank you for your continued support. Without you guys, this would never have happened. Okay,
Wouldn't be happening now.
wouldn't be happening now. All right, let's get into it. First question: how does someone consummate a Josephite marriage?
Very carefully. No, you obviously don't consummate a Josephite marriage. That's the whole point. It's you live like brother and sister. Now, I suppose you could ask at that point, does that mean it's a real marriage or not? And the answer is, well, yeah. I mean, if the couple sincerely desire to live that way within the bonds of marriage, then it is.
Is there a special process for that? Because I thought, like in the normal, like me going through this right now, I thought you have to like
You plan to
rearing
go through a
children.
Josephite marriage?
No, I mean like I thought like part of it was to have children, or at least to
Well,
be open to children.
it sure is, but the Josephite marriage is a very different thing. Usually, people who go through it have been normally married. You see, most of the Josephite marriages I know of are where they've agreed to live as brother and sister after having lived a normal married life.
You know Josephite marriages?
I won't tell. I'm speaking of historic examples.
Historic examples. I think the only one I know of is well, other than obviously the Blessed Virgin and Saint Joseph, is oh, who wrote Fire of Love on Purgatory? It's not Catherine of Siena, but Catherine of Genoa, I think.
Yeah.
And she, interestingly, yeah, she lived through the plague, and she was in a plague hospital in Italy, and like where everyone's dying, and I think her husband died actually in the hospital from the plague, but she survived. I think, pretty sure.
Well, she must
Anyhow,
have survived.
what?
She must have survived.
Yeah.
Well, one of the saints of today, Saint Benedetta, who's an Italian nun, she and her husband had a Josephite marriage.
Hmm.
And then they separated. They went into separate. Eventually, each of them became religious. But then they came back together as a couple, not as maritally, but they lived together as brother and sister within the appearance of the married state in order to run a set of schools
Okay.
for children, Catholic schools. But
Yeah.
they were still bound by their religious vows. It was a interesting setup.
Okay.
And for that matter, the Holy Roman Emperor, St. Henry, and his wife, St. Cunegunda, the Empress, they had a Josephite marriage.
Okay. Next question. I heard a gay historian say that the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah that got them struck down was not originally interpreted to be the homosexuality for the first 1,000 years, but the fact that they tried to rape their guests. According to this historian, it was later reinterpreted by a Greek philosopher from Egypt named Philo. Does this have credence?
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
What?
I see a bad moon arising. I see troubles on the way. Oh, don't go out tonight. It sure. Well, anyway, I don't place any credence in it. And, that sounds like the sort of special pleading for which gay historians are famous. The whole point of being a quote unquote gay historian is to reinterpret history in the light of legitimizing your lifestyle. You know, if I were an adulterous historian, I would doubtless do the same thing. But
Is that your professional, like, on Wikipedia? Charles Coulombe, the famous adulterous historian.
yes, his pioneering work in showing that the early church was in fact in favor of adultery. You know, please.
Okay. Next two questions are from Giovanni. How is Tumblar House going to react with the coronavirus, as I'm sure eventually California is going to close down non-essential businesses like they did here in New York City?
Uh-oh. I'm afraid, Giovanni, you have just... Giovanni, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have asked that.
I mean, non-essential, Giovanni? Really? Is that what we're going to do? Non-essential?
Look, I know you had this argument with the inspectors, the man from the government. I know that you were very upset. I heard the shouting. Then I saw you escort him to. I saw you guys come out of your office. You escorted him to the elevator, and then I saw you jab number 13.
That's God's divine justice that happened right there. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Because can you believe it? He did not recognize Catholic books as being essential to the common good.
So you're telling me that basically what you're saying is that Tumblar House is essential to the common good.
Absolutely. I mean, I cited all these biblical lines. You know, man cannot live on bread alone. Am I right?
Yeah, but you're not a baker.
Well, exactly. What I'm saying is you need more than bakeries, right? You need spiritual well-being, which I guess the state doesn't care at all about.
Well, I know one of its employees does now.
Well, that's for sure. That'll learn them.
Yeah, forever and ever. I wonder if we'll ever see him again, and if we do, if he'll be recognizable.
Hey, who are we talking about?
Never mind. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Never mind. Hello.
Yeah, but let's see. Yeah, so we're locked down. We're managing remote work, right? We're working remotely because the order happened. LA got it on Thursday from Mayor Garcetti. So we're scrambling. It's I don't think the employees mind, the 50, the camera in each room, right? To monitor what's going on.
Yes, I know. In case there's badness. And I'm sure they don't mind being stuck in the girls and boys dorms, which, as I mentioned last week, I consider a little demeaning. And the house mothers, that really is straight out of the 1950s, some college somewhere. Franchini U.
Well, I mean, what's happened to the education system since, right? I mean, we had more things right back then. So isn't it worth it to give it a try?
Yes, but forget it. I'm not going to even argue. I'm tied up in lockdown myself, although I don't have any house mother.
Yeah.
And I have to do all my own cooking.
Oh gosh, oh wow. My heart goes out to you, Charles. All your own cooking.
Yes.
What are you making now? What are you cooking up?
Well, yesterday or 2 days ago, to celebrate St. Joseph's Day, because I didn't have any tomato sauce, I had pasta topped with goulash from a can.
Pasta topped with goulash.
Yes.
Okay.
Today, so far, I've had a cup of noodles and a thick slice of Viennese ham, washed down with orange juice, tea, and coffee. I'm going to have something else before I go to bed. I'm going to have something after we finish. I don't know what I'm going to eat. Probably Debrecina sausage soup.
Sounds good. Okay.
Well, something really exciting did happen yesterday on my lockdown.
What?
Well, I took my weekly walk that I'm allowed down to the market. The employees there were even surlier than they are normally, and they're usually pretty surly. They were not happy to be there, and I don't blame them. But there was toilet paper in abundance.
Wow. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, one of the chancellor, Mr. Kurtz, who has really been on the warpath this week. He gave a speech, I think Wednesday. He said that there wasn't going to be any further restrictions, simply because there wasn't much more they could restrict.
Yeah. Wow.
But he said that this is probably going to call into question both European solidarity, which he didn't see much of, and the whole globalist project.
Okay.
That's quite possibly going to be a casualty of all of this. Certainly the fact that we've reverted to living in separate nations, shall we say.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is amazing. Let's see, what was I going to say? My mind is wandering. Oh, I remember. So,
I'm sorry.
So Chancellor Kurtz is very, he's certainly on the deal. We've had something like 18,000 tests, of which 2,400 or something have been positive, and 9 people have died so far in Austria. So we're just, sort of sitting around waiting to see what's going to happen and if they're going to slow the spread. But that's what it's like being locked down for me.
Okay, well, I guess we'll touch more about it in the main episode for everybody. Yeah. But thanks for the question, Giovanni. A second question from Giovanni. Charles, how do you convert a Jewish person to Catholicism? How do you do that?
Well, you start with divine grace and goodwill on the part of the person. Now, of course, that's true for every conversion. With Jewish people, it's a question, depending on how observant they are and how much they believe in Judaism, because a lot of them don't. But if they do, it's a question of showing them that Catholicism is the fulfillment of Judaism, and not just of Judaism, but of temple Judaism. That is to say, the system of sacrifices, the priesthood, etc., that modern Judaism lacks because of the destruction of the temple. So, in a certain sense, Catholicism is actually more Jewish than Judaism, having a priesthood and a sacrifice.
Nice. I like that.
Well, it's true. So I just hope that I wish you luck with it, because I'll tell you, all the Jewish converts I've known have been really amongst the very best Catholics, no doubt about that.
Yeah. Okay, last question for the pre-show is from Theo.
All right.
I recently attended a talk given by Martin Mosbach. He mentioned he disliked the name given by his English language publisher to his most recent collection of essays, Subversive Catholicism. He said he is reticent over the word Catholicism, as all isms are bad. He prefers to talk of the Holy Catholic Church. Do you agree with his sentiment? In a sense, I think the label traditionalist is unhelpful, since all Catholics should hold fast to and love the sacred deposit of tradition and the traditions of the Church.
Well, I certainly see a lot of merit in those views. The problem with traditionalist is that it has been used as a buzzword and a means of shutting up the conversation before it can start. And I see Dr. Mosebach's feelings about the word Catholicism. We use it as shorthand, but I do see what he means by it reduces it to the level of everything else. So, I'd say there's some merit in those views.
Okay. Okay, that'll do it for this pre-show episode. We hope you've enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the full episode.
Keep the home fires burning, ladies and gentlemen. Every time you feel your enthusiasm for life in general flagging because of what we're all going through, don't let it. Remember that our fathers and grandfathers went through worse than we've ever seen. So it's up to us to rise to the occasion, keep the home fires burning, etc. We don't know what the future holds, ladies and gentlemen. We really don't. But we do know that human nature doesn't change. And we will get through this. It may not be pleasant. We may very well lose people who are very dear to us, if not our own particular selves. But no one gets out of here alive, ladies and gentlemen.
What is that from?
It's from, you guessed it, Jim Morrison. Mr. Mojo Rising. Yeah. And he proved it.
He proved it.
So don't despair. God is still in control, and heaven is still our aspiration. In fact, with what we may be going through the next few months, that may seem a much better alternative to anything we actually know in the here and now. So keep those home fires burning, keep your powder dry, and every other platitude I can think of.
All right, see you then.
Take care. We'll see you in the regular show. Ciao, ciao.